You know, I really didn't want to address this about dating modern women and all I keep seeing and hearing on the internet on how it's so difficult for you younger guys, because I've heard and seen most of these young women how they are nothing but complete bullshit, expecting the world and they offer nothing in return. There's no sense of even trying. Whereas I'm older now. I won't say my age is 60, and I'm not saying it's any different, but I do friend with benefits, which I've done most of my life, and I don't regret it or ever, I shouldn't be married, blah 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 blah, fucking bullshit. But live your life the way you want to live it. Don't let anybody else, especially some religious jack-off, tell you what to do. Oh, you don't get married, you're gonna burn in hell or some stupid fucking crap. But I live every day like it's my last. I don't care. I'm at a point where I don't care. I mean, and now everything is so screwed up, where everything is so expensive and a ripoff. And now, I heard about. Hold on a second. Let me change this real quick. I heard about this guy. Well, I don't want to show my fucking fat ass. So I heard about this guy that was a handyman, and he didn't get any calls for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks without a paycheck, and because everybody else is, either laid off or getting fired or don't have a job or low on funds, so they're figuring out how to do things themselves, like fix stuff around the house, the toilet or whatever, or car repair. So that in turn leads to less jobs for the HVAC people to come over and fix, and auto mechanics. I'm sure they're still doing all right, but I'm just saying, it's like a vicious circle. It just keeps going around, and it's all because of politicians and government. If you would stop giving foreign countries millions of dollars, that's one step in the right direction, and contribute it here to American people. Social Security, start changing laws about how if you're going to move here, you have to learn English. I don't care what you say. And no illegals can't vote and all that. I'll get into that in another video, because I wanted to address a question. I actually got a question on one of my videos about, I don't remember the guy's name, but he stated something about the fact of why do I say I don't want to be around people that smoke, whether it's cigarettes or vape or do drugs or drink. It was a question to that, sort of like that. And, well, there's numerous reasons. One is because I was there. I was, the whole decade of the 80s was a cloud of smoke. Me and my buds did nothing but get stoned and drunk on every day, just about, and then stoned, drunk, and tripping on the weekends. It was a mess. It was ridiculous. We were out of control. We were young and stupid, and smoking Marlboro Reds on top of that. I'm surprised it didn't happen what happened to a friend of mine who I'm no longer friends with. But he, I don't know, about 3 years ago, he had a lung removed because of so much smoking, reefer, and cigarettes. And I think he's still vaping now. So have fun, I did run into him after it happened, and he was sort of like walking like he was like sideways, sort of like he had a tilt to his walk now. And I'm like, whatever. I'm not telling you, And he has a high metabolism on top of that, where he talks really fast no matter how much coffee he has. And another one that he hangs out with that I've been friends for years, this guy is still smoking reefer, and he has asthma. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. So I hope that answers the guy's question. That's, one of the, that should be enough right there. I mean, 2004, I relapsed after I had another so-called friend move into one. I was renting a cottage on the lake, and he moved into the room to help pay bills, like women should. And so he came down in 2003 or 2004, and he brought crack and coke with him, and all hell went loose for another year. I ended up ODing on crack and coke in an effort to try to do myself in. I wound up in the hospital. And it's rush hour traffic, so I'm trying to see who I should let in or not. I'm surprised they didn't beep their horn at me. But anyway, yeah, so 2004, and then I was high on crack for a year, and then I quit. And then from 2004 to now, say 2005, I did a couple of lines in 2005. And I went back to smoking cigarettes too. I forgot about that. So for a year, I went back on all the shit that I was clean and sober for 11 years. I relapsed hard. And I have an addictive behavior. You know, another addiction is chocolate. You know, I mean, if you get making chocolate chip cookies, forget it, man. I will bury my face in the batter. I know that sounds nasty. But, yeah, look at that, man. So 2004, 2005 to now, 20 years sobriety. And, I'm not ever going back, you know, I can't stand it. One thing that is weird is I don't mind the smell of cigarette smoke, nicotine. Like if I'm playing golf with my buddy Joe, he'll like take out a cigarette and start smoking. It doesn't bother me. You know, as long as, you know, we're not eating, or if it's in my vehicle or in my house, I don't have any problem. Go ahead, smoke a cigarette. I don't have any problem you smoking that vape crap either. Just keep it away, you know, keep your distance. Because it's nasty. As I just said the word nasty, some hot chicks walking across the damn. I got the window down. Oops. But, you know, I worked around people that did it. And they had that little freaking thing and they're dipping, you know, pouring it into this. You know, what the hell are you doing? What a waste of money. You know, and I didn't tell them that because I'm not going to tell anybody how to live. I'll give you suggestions on what to do and what not to do so you don't fuck up like I did. You know, because when you're young, I don't care. You know, there are very few that are, you know, that take the right path and know better. And a lot of them don't. And a lot of them die or go to jail or are still doing this shit. Like my friends in the city I was born and raised in are still doing. I don't live there anymore, obviously. I moved out of there in 03. I made it here. And, yeah, it was really weird, man. I'll tell you this quick story. I was dating a girl that was about an hour and a half away. And I would spend weekends there because I worked here and she worked an hour and a half away. And I'd go there, I'd spend weekends. And I hooked up with this other girl online. I don't remember where. This is back in 03. I have no idea where it was. Some dating website online somewhere or something. Or just a chat room they had back then. But it turned out that she lived not too far from the girl I was dating. So I asked her, you want to meet for dinner on that Friday when I was supposed to go over to the other girl that I was dating's house. We met. Actually, I went to her house, picked her up. I was surprised she let me do that. She didn't even know who I was. But I went to her house, picked her up. We went to a nice seafood joint. I remember what it was called. I'm surprised. It was called A.W. Shucks. Oh, shucks. Blah, blah, blah. But I ended up spending the night at her house when I was supposed to be at my girlfriend's place on the other side of the highway. The next morning I left my phone in my car, of course, you know. I think I'm stupid. I'm going to bring it in her house with me. Next morning I get out. It's like, you have 9 new messages. First message, I know you cheated on me, you son of a bitch. Second message, I cared about you. Third message, I'm going to kill you. Needless to say, the girl that I cheated on her with didn't want to have anything to do with me. So I ended up losing them both. So that's another thing I'm not doing anymore is cheating. Because I admit it, I did it back in the 90s. I remember this girl that wanted to marry me. I cheated on her twice when I was out at camping at these concerts. It's like, hey, the opportunity arose when, you know, women do it all the time, you know, especially these guys that are in the military. You know they're going to go bang some dude. Are you kidding me? Who are you trying to kid? But yeah, I will help out anybody. You want to shoot me a message? It doesn't cost anything. I don't have anything to sell, not yet. Somewhere down the line, I would like to start selling some shirts and mugs, because when I was a truck driver, I used to deliver. I don't know why I just did that, but I used to deliver to the silkscreen company that's on the other side of the highway from where I live. So I'll go over there and check that, see what they can do for me. Plus, my cousins ran a silk screening years ago. I think they still do. I don't know. And up in where I'm originally from, so that's a little bit out of the question. Because what are you doing? I'm going to have everything from there shipped to me, and then I got to ship that out again? That's not happening. Because I'm going to end up paying for shipping. You know that. You know, if somebody ships something to you, usually the person that's getting it shipped pays for the shipping. You know, that's how it usually works. But in the other circumstances, you know, like I'm a guitar player and I bought a guitar off of sweetwater.com, and I didn't return it, but I did return this other one that I bought from them, and then I had to pay for shipping because they already paid for it on their end or something. I forgot how that works. You can figure it out. But it was correct because I don't know. Most of the time, whoever's getting something shipped to them, like if you get that pre-made meals, I order those online too. I gotta pay for shipping, or things from Costco, or you know, sometimes the shipping's free. But you know, and then somewhere down the line, I'd even like to start getting into cologne, selling cologne. You know, I mean, you gotta stay healthy. I'm telling you. I mean, I told you what happened to me. I OD'd, wound up in the hospital in 2004, and then forward 14 years, 2018, I was driving and I had a heart attack, a mini heart attack. The doctor said, because I was able to drive to 3 hours home. I thought it was caffeine, so I kept driving. I drove home. I got an hour's sleep. I woke up. I was numb. My entire upper body was numb, and my arms and my back were all numb. And I called my dad, and he said, "Get your ass to the emergency room now." And yeah, I went to the emergency room, and the doctor said, "Yeah, sometime last night, you had a mini heart attack, and tomorrow morning you're going in for triple bypass. Three of your arteries are clogged 97%. And I'm like, it's like I can't sit still. I only got 1 hour sleep and I can't sit still. I can't even lay down on the thing to try to get to sleep. They said, yeah, that's your body's fight or flight response. You don't know what the hell is going on because you had, a heart attack and all the caffeine that I drank to get back. I was driving, a 5-hour drive. I already drove 2 hours. And so that's that, I went to the, I didn't even give a shit. I was hoping to die. I went to the doctor's care, and they said it's more than caffeine. The EKG is showing more than caffeine. We got to get you in an ambulance to the hospital. No, you're going to die. I said, screw that. I'm driving. I said, the last time I called an ambulance, I had benefits, healthcare benefits, and it still cost me $1,100 for a 10-minute drive to the hospital. Fuck that. I'm driving myself. So I drove myself to the hospital. And when I got there, I walked around for a little while outside and inside. I'm like, should I really go in? Hopefully, this should subside. How men are, should I, so I went in. And when I told them what happened and everything, they immediately put me in a wheelchair and brought me in for testing. It's just too close to my face. I hate it when I'm watching videos where they, yeah, so anyway, yesterday. So, yeah. So they put me in a wheelchair and immediately brought me in. I did testing. And that's when they told me the good news that I was not leaving. And my phone died. And I didn't have my charger. It was in my truck. And they said, you're not going anywhere. He says, I'll go look for a charger. He comes back 5 seconds later. No, I can't find one. He says, nobody in this whole hospital has an Apple phone charger. I am obviously not going to steal it. So, that's it, man. Last thing I remember is them shaving my legs, and then I woke up on my side, and a female doctor was in between my arm and me. And then I tapped her to let her know, hey, I guess I'm still alive. And that's it, and then I won't explain the rest of it because it's pretty gnarly where you're sitting in the hospital for a week and the shit that goes on and you barely get any sleep. I'll tell you the only thing good about a hospital, they have incredible painkillers. These pink ones, I'd keep calling down to the things and they'd always ask me, what's your pain on a scale of 1 to 10? It's 11. Bring some of those pink ones. And they were freaking mind-blowing, man. They did such a fantastic job. So can you give me a prescription of those pink ones? But anyway, it's funny how I'm driving and everybody's looking at me because I'm talking to... There's somebody here, but I'm talking to you. But, yeah, let me know where you're from. Hopefully I answered that dude's question. I don't have time to sit there and type and then edit and then keep, go back, I spelled that word wrong, blah, 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 so I just said it right there in this video. So I hope you, that answered your question, and hopefully, if you're still smoking, if you're smoking or whatever, hopefully sooner or later you'll stop, because it's a waste of money, and I'm telling you, life is short, life flies by. You can lose money and get it back, but you can't lose time and get it back. Time's gone forever. That decade of the 80s, I lost a decade of my life. A friend of my sister's is always telling me that because she used to be a counselor. She says, yeah, those 10 years are gone. You're never going to get them back. And then when I told her a friend committed suicide back in 93, she's like, yeah, and she started going off on how he's selfish and blah, blah, blah. And I said, why? It was his choice. It was his decision. He didn't want to stick around. I'm not gonna try to stop someone if they, if I'm walking down the street and I see someone without the ability and they start yelling, I'm gonna jump, I'm killing myself, I keep walking. I wouldn't clap, I wouldn't say anything, I just, I'd look at it and I'd keep walking. I wouldn't say anything. I would, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you really, really, really want to do, you're not gonna tell anybody. You're not gonna explain to the world, you're gonna do it. That's it right there, I'm telling you. Because my buddy in 93, there were no signs, he didn't do anything. The guy that was in the band, Richard Manuel, no signs. Chris Cornell, that was in Soundgarden, there might have been a little bit of signs, but you wouldn't think you would because, you got money, you got a phenomenal band, so you're obviously getting paid well, you got a smoking hot wife, But I've heard of other medication that people have committed. Some 16-year-old recently, where it wasn't medication. It was AI. No, it was medication. I forgot. It was online somewhere where they were suing Chat, GTP, and AI because their 16-year-old son committed suicide he must have looked up some sort of medication or something, and it made him depressed as fuck. I said, when I was younger, I was depressed a lot and overweight, and I just went through it and then changed my life on my own. I read, well, not completely on my own. I talked to people, I read. A lot of Stoic principles had to do with it. That's a good thing, is Stoic principles. They're all online and all for free. Just type it in the header in fucking Google. And I was very overweight, and I lost weight really quickly because I was doing drugs and wasn't eating, doing drugs and drinking. People say, oh, you're smoking reefer, don't you get the munchies? I didn't get the munchies, I just laughed my ass off and fucking had another beer. But this video is getting kind of long. I don't want to make it any, But that guy that sent that question, I'm driving right now, so I can't look it up to see what your name was. But if you watch this video, post another comment, and let me go back to that question real quick by saying, look at a lot of successful people. Are they smoking vape? Is Elon Musk or Bill Gates or the guys in Google, are they stoned and drunk on the weekends, making an ass of themselves? I highly doubt it. Alright, so keep kicking ass. do what you gotta do, but don't do it to where you're gonna hurt somebody else or whatever, you know. Think before you act. That's what I didn't do when I was young with my buds, you know. It's like, oh, that's LSD? Okay, let's all do it. No, there wasn't any, you know, thinking of, you know, our mushrooms or whatever else we did, you know. Going to concerts completely blasted. But, there we go around this magnificent cul-de-sac here. I don't know why the screen just got darker. Does it get darker on your end just now? That was weird. But, you know, the thing I would like to do, like I did when I was younger, is ride dirt bikes. Or those 3-wheelers or 4-wheelers. I guess it just goes dark automatically. I don't know what the hell just happened. Alright, 20 minutes, good enough. Yeah, what do you think of the new prescription shades? Pretty cool, huh, man? Oakley. Fuck yeah, man. They are prescription. Yes. Oh, here's another accident. Is everybody dead? Good. I'm joking. All right, yeah. I always do that, or I beep, or I clap. I know I shouldn't do that, but they didn't even look at me. All right, as soon as I make this right turn, all right, I made the right turn, and yeah, send me anything, any questions, you know, whatever, you know. Tom, you're a douche. I'm not watching you ever again. All right, see ya.